contractors say it's really hard to fill empty jobs. The number of job openings continues to run at record levels.
Today, construction trends are in the spotlight as the demand for workers remains high. The labor market conditions are just one of the factors driving change within the industry. Joining me to talk about this trend and more, please welcome Business Development Executive at ADP, Kit Dickinson, and Chief Economist for Associated General Contractors of America, Ken Simonson. Thank you both for being here. So Ken, I want to kick things off with you. As someone who studies the construction labor market for a living, what are some of the top trends you've seen in the industry lately?
Well, the newest trend is also the oldest. Contractors say it's really hard to fill empty jobs. The number of job openings continues to run at record levels compared to the same month a year, or going all the way back 23 years in the history of that series. And that's a contrast to what I see in the broader economy, where reports are that jobs are somewhat easier to fill. Not only are they hard to fill, it's very hard to find applicants who have the requisite experience. The unemployment rate is hovering near all-time lows for construction, again, for any given month compared to past years. Now, contractors have been raising pay in order to draw workers back to the industry, but looks to me like they'll have to do even more so in order to attract enough applicants and keep the ones they have.
Thank you, Ken. So Kit, in your experience with construction business owners, how can they optimize pay to remain competitive and bring workers into the industry to fill the labor shortage?
When you think of pay, it's really two-dimensional. First is the rate of pay, which you have to be paying at or above what your competitors are to attract the new workers. But the second dimension, which is increasing importance, especially for different demographics, is benefits and going away from a one-size-fits-all benefit policy. So a couple ways that we've seen the most successful firms address this. First is you need to have accurate and robust benchmarking tools. You need to understand what your peers, what your competitors are paying. What we're finding is today's worker is really expecting a menu of options that's really geared towards what's most important to them. So for example, when you think of the younger workers, the Gen Z generation, things that are really core to what they're interested in, first would be technology awareness and training. That's one dimension. But they also want to have an impact on the community around them. So offering paid days of service is an option. At the other end of the spectrum, you have your more experienced workers. They might have families, and therefore what they're most interested in is generous medical and dental, 401k type benefits. So those are the things that you really need to consider.
That retention is very important, so thank you. So Ken, I'm going to turn to you now. So what trends do you see in helping to attract new workers?
Yes, well, certainly construction firms are trying a lot. AGC of America, our chapters, and many of our members are engaging directly with school districts, with the guidance counselors, with community colleges and workforce development agencies to try to get that message out that construction careers are rewarding from the get-go, that average pay in construction is higher than it is for other entry-level jobs. And the career ladder is clearly stronger, that so many people who own or are executives of construction companies started out at that lowest rung. And then finally, in construction, you get to show your friends and families what you've worked on. And it's often something that really improves quality of life or makes a striking difference in the appearance of a city. So there are a lot of positives about construction, but it's still an uphill struggle to try to get that message out and to engage people and get them into the industry.
So Kit, how can construction firms capitalize on the emerging worker expectations like career development and workplace culture?
I think the operative word there is career, and that's one of the areas that the construction industry at large can do a better job of really promoting all the benefits of joining a career in the trades. So a lot of people have a misperception that if I go into construction, I'm going to be the same plumber for 40 years or swing the same hammer for 40 years, and that's absolutely not the case. There's significant opportunity in terms of growth, not only from an income perspective, but also in terms of professional development, leadership opportunities. So what we're seeing is, some of the, again, the more successful firms, they're finding the workers of tomorrow at an earlier age, going into high school through different internship programs or mentorship opportunities. There's a great example down in Florida. There was a company that we've worked with that they actually have a banquet at the end of the summer for all their interns. But what they also do is invite those interns' parents, because they're finding that the parents are often the ones that are discouraging these kids from joining a career in construction. They feel that a path to success has to be through college, when that's absolutely not the case in many respects. And so what we're finding is, coming out of that banquet, that the parents, after learning about the income that can be gained, the development, how technology is prevalent everywhere in construction, but then also that many of the graduates of this program actually go on to start their own business. They're finding that the parents are as big advocates about joining the trades as the kids themselves.